Hi, my name is Dr. Glenn Fink, and I'm the author of the new book, The Gospel, God's Great Undoing, coming out this fall. This series is about what God's doing in the universe and what your part in it is. Last time we talked about redshift that we see from distant stars. It shows an expansion of the universe that the Big Bang model cannot predict without fudge factors like dark matter and dark energy. This time, we're going to talk about another fudge factor, inflation. It's not just for governments anymore. One thing I want you to know about this: our universe is so smooth, so homogeneous, that there is no way it could have been the result of an uncontrolled explosion without a great deal of fine-tuning. So the Big Bang doesn't predict our observations that the universe is as uniformly distributed as it is. Explosions are not nice and evenly distributed like we see the universe today. And there are two things that the Big Bang really cannot explain very well. Number one, stars and galaxies are spread nicely and evenly throughout the entire universe in every direction that we look. And number two, the cosmic microwave background radiation is spread across the sky extremely evenly. This cosmic microwave background, the CMB, is heat radiation left over from the creation event. But unlike heat from an explosion, it is so smooth that it only varies by a few parts per million, no matter which direction we look. It's about 3 degrees Kelvin above absolute zero, and the hottest parts we've observed are only about 0.0002 degrees Kelvin warmer than the coldest part. That means that there's less than 1/1,000,000th of a deviation, just a few parts per million of a deviation in every direction. No one could bring themselves to actually believe that a natural explosion would produce such a completely smooth distribution. So the inflation theory was theorized in the 1980s to make the Big Bang sort of fit the uniformity we can observe in the universe. It's an attempt to fine-tune the smoothness of the universe without supernatural design. The basic idea is that when the universe was very small, much smaller than an atom, it was suddenly stretched out to maybe the size of a dime, about a centimeter in diameter, by an unknown force called the inflationary force. This force supposedly comes from a never observed phenomenon, the inflaton field. Now, this field is like an anti-gravity field that spread everything out so nicely and neatly that when the Big Bang happened, stuff would be evenly distributed. But inflation has its own fine-tuning problems. Unless the inflaton's field's energy curve had a very specific shape, the outcome would be a universe with too high a density and the wrong distribution of galaxies, or maybe not even the formation of matter at all. Only 0.0000000000001, I think I got all the zeros in there, percent of all the possible choices will work. That is a 1 with 15 leading zeros after the decimal place. Very, very small fraction of the possibilities would work at all. Even more likely is that inflation simply wouldn't occur at all. There are so many possibilities for getting inflation wrong that getting it just right without a designer controlling it would be unthinkably unlikely. Now, here's a quote from Paul Steinhardt. This is how wishful thinking is working here. In the chaotic primeval universe, there was sure to be some patch of space where one of these fields met the conditions for inflation. Okay, great. Kind of reminds me of Charles Darwin's, but if, oh, what a big if, we could conceive in some warm little pond with all sorts of ammonia and phosphoric salts, light, heat, and electricity, etc., present, that a protein compound was chemically formed, ready to undergo still more complex changes. Okay, he's saying that maybe life could happen, and they're saying maybe inflation could happen somewhere. But just because something can be imagined does not make it so. In logic, we call this the fallacy of the appeal to possibility. There is no observed source for this inflationary energy. There is also no known mechanism that would stop the cancerous spread of an infinite number of colliding, malformed universes once you allow the idea of inflation to start. So inflation was proposed because the Big Bang model cannot be made to work without God. But they only ended up moving the problem, not solving it. The explanation demands even more explanation. The best that we can do without God is to come up with ways that God might have done it, not a way to get rid of God. Our universe is so remarkably smooth and homogeneous that explanations like inflation and other things simply cannot do it without God. So please look out for the book coming out in the fall, The Gospel, God's Great Undoing. We'll hear more about inflation and things like that. Next time, we'll talk about an Earth-sized time machine, how the rim of the universe might actually be very old while the Earth is relatively young. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and please leave your comments below. I'd love to answer your questions. I'm answering viewer questions at least once a week now in live videos. So I'd love to have you join me on those videos. And I'd also love it if you'd leave your questions below so I can answer them. Thank you very much for being involved. Thanks for promoting the book and for the gospel, God's Great Undoing, and all of our helpers. I thank you very much.